Hello everybody, I hope that you are well and having an absolutely fantastic week. So today's podcast episode is going to be slightly different to normal. I offered people the opportunity last week over on Instagram to ask me a question that I would then answer on this week's podcast. It was after my group coaching call, which happens once a month, and I thought that this would be really helpful for people, because even if we are, everybody has challenges in their life. It's not until you sit down and ask somebody, will you know, and even then you might not know, but everybody is going through a challenge in their life. It could, absolutely everybody. The person you're sat next to on the bus, the person you sit opposite in the office, a family member, and we might not know what is going off in other people's lives, but we are all going through challenges as we head on this journey we call life. And so in my own journey, I have been fortunate enough to have been learning about personal development, spiritual development, and growth for the last 7+ years. It's something I'm absolutely fascinated in. I feel a very, very deep connection to spirituality. My faith in a higher power and in myself helped me heal cancer. I am in awe of psychology and neuroscience. I love the brain. I love knowing why we think what we do, and some kind of ancient philosophies. And I believe that all of these together can provide really interesting insights into some of these everyday struggles that we have. I do it for myself every day. I journal. I self-reflect. I ask myself questions as to why I feel a certain way. I'm very lucky to have friends in a similar field and who also love this. So when we go out for a glass of wine on a Saturday night, or people listening to our conversations probably think we're a bit mental, but this is what I absolutely love. I absolutely live for. This is why I have this podcast. This is why I am a coach. This is why I have led my jewelry company down the path that we're going down. So it's really exciting for me actually to be able to offer this episode to you, because it's something that I hope to do once a month after the group coaching calls, because they, again, we're all going through challenges, and sometimes we need somebody to ask us, what are you facing? How can I help you? In order for us to start seeking help. We're not really encouraged to seek help off our own backs unless things are really bad. We're often really encouraged to suck it up and carry on and put on a brave face, especially here in the UK. We are all about the brave face. And I have been for so long, but when I've offered vulnerability, it has been welcomed, and I've received the guidance I needed to. So this is why I would like to offer this to you. If you have a question that you would like me to discuss on our podcast, it's all completely anonymous, so nobody will know you've asked it. Nobody will know where it's come from. It's all completely anonymous, confidential. But me answering your question on the podcast will hopefully help you, but hopefully help other people as well, because a lot of these questions can be kind of transferred to a different area of somebody's life. It's like last week's podcast, I spoke about changing the conversation around cancer, but it also meant changing the conversation around any obstacle you're facing, so we can swap our way of thinking from fear-based to love-based, and love and compassion and if we are able to do that, then we are able to, I believe, live more happy, fulfilled lives, and we will see a higher survival rate from cancer. So, it's all intertwined, but it could be the same. Well, you'll see as the questions go what I mean, and hopefully it will also help you in some way. So, without further ado, these questions are really powerful, actually, especially for our first episode of, I don't know what to call it. Dear Roseanna sounds far too cheesy for me, but we'll see. That's a work in progress. So these three questions, they're actually related. They're all relationship-based questions, relationship, family. I also believe they're quite... the questions are they're all based around, I believe, expectations of how we should live our lives. So the three questions are: how to heal heartbreak, how to find a specific type of man. Now, the question was sent to me with actual specifics, and unfortunately I didn't have a database that I could go through with checkboxes and just hand her a specific type of man. I wish I had that power. Unfortunately, I don't. And the other one, which really hit me, and I think this is a really important one to address, because I feel really compassionate towards this question. And it's how to cope with the monthly disappointment of not being able to conceive. So, or not conceiving. So, three really powerful questions, three intertwined questions. So I hope that I am able to provide some insight for you. Heartbreak is something we've all felt in one way, shape or form. Heartbreak can be the loss of a family member, it can be the loss of a partner, and I mean loss in any sense of the word. It could be the loss of a pet or somebody dear to us, something dear to us. And I guess all heartbreak is a form of grief. So there are ways that we deal with grief. Everybody experiences this grief and heartbreak differently. For some, it can be more angry. For some, it can just be more... Some people want to hide away. Some people, want to kind of go out into the world and show that, nobody breaks my heart. I am, fuck you, basically. So everybody deals with it differently. Now, I think what you have to ask yourself is, I think this question specifically was about a relationship, or about about a person who, in a relationship sense, take and leave, what resonates with you, what doesn't, So I think you have to ask yourself, ultimately, in a heartbreak relationship situation, if what you're telling yourself about it is actually true, because our ego has a very good way of making us the victim. I've made myself the victim in this situation before, and look what this person did to me. This person did this. God, this person's an asshole. And I've somehow managed to escape any blame at all. So I think you have to ask yourself if what you're telling yourself is true. Now, that works the other way as well. You could be completely blaming yourself. Oh, I'm not good enough for that person. This is all my fault. Why did I do this? Is that actually true? My answer will probably be quite frustrating, because also I really believe that if things are meant to be, then they will be. And we are guided, and this will be the theme throughout the whole episode, throughout all of these. In fact, it'll probably be the answer to every question I ever receive. But I do believe that we're guided on this journey, and that having faith that if you've lost this person, something better is they weren't for you, and something or someone better suited to you is around the corner. It could be an opportunity that's completely not related to being in a relationship at all, but being open to receiving something better for you will hopefully provide comfort in a time that is really challenging. Allow yourself to be heartbroken. I'm not a fan of pity parties, but maybe you can allow yourself a small pity party. Give yourself a limit on when your pity party is going to be over, and that pity party can be whatever you want it to be. Ice cream, Netflix duvet movie day. I really don't want to encourage you to go out and drink the bar dry, because that never helped anybody, and the hangover is always worse when you know that you've drunk dialed your ex. So maybe don't do that, but allow yourself to have a day where you feel completely sorry for yourself. And if you get that out of your system, then we can start to kind of move on, and from there, make sure whatever you do, if you're going to have a pity party, by the way, enjoy it. Know that it's a pity party and go all out doing it. Do not think, I shouldn't be doing this. Because the second you make it wrong, you make yourself wrong, and then that just makes the whole situation worse. So allow yourself to have the pity party, enjoy doing it, turn your phone off. Do not sit scrolling through Instagram, because that is not a pity party, that's a torture chamber. Allow yourself, so have the pity party. When your limit's up, your limit's up. If your limit is an hour, you get outside, you go for a walk, you refresh yourself after when your pity party's finished. If it's a day, you wake up in the morning, you get straight back into your routine, and you get ready to face a new day, a new opportunity. We have a new opportunity in every second if we so wish to take it. But I would then, you just have to have compassion for yourself. Because you've had a pity party, it does not mean that you're going to feel better. You're not. In fact, you might feel worse. You might not. You might feel a bit better. You might feel completely better. Only you will know that when you've been through it. But don't allow yourself to fall into the victim mentality as the days go on. Try and do things that empower you. But I cannot stress this enough. Be compassionate towards yourself, because the more you repress this heartbreak, it's going to come back and bite you in the ass. So really be compassionate. If you need to go and massage is really good to help get these emotions out of your system. Yoga, whatever you do to relax, to reset. I think you kind of know the good things that your body likes and your mind likes, and that make you feel better. Once you've had your day of lying on the sofa watching Netflix and eating ice cream, do what you know will make you feel better. It's always handy to have a little toolbox of things that will make this is me being compassionate towards myself. You have to feel it as well. You can't just have the bath. You can't just have the bubble bath. You have to you have to feel in the bubble bath. I'm having this bubble bath, and I love myself, and I honor myself, and I am so compassionate towards what my heart is going through right now, because those feelings are real. Now, why you're having them is not necessarily real. So consider that your heartbreak isn't actually heartbreak, and it's more that you're in a relationship sense, that your expectations weren't met by the other person. You both had different expectations for the relationship, and those expectations weren't met by one or both of you, and so we then kind of, whatever happens, we break up or whatever, and suddenly that person isn't how you first perceived them, or you kind of realize that they are flawed, or you're flawed, or whatever, and certain expectations haven't been met. So your expectations have been not been met, and whilst it's painful, it could be more egoic than actual true loss and grief. And the only way you will know is you have to sit with this. You have to ask yourself questions. Ask yourself, where is this pain coming from? Why am I feeling this pain? Is what I'm telling myself about the situation true? Byron Katie does some amazing work. It's literally called The Work. You can go on her website and download this worksheet that you work through, and you ask yourself questions that will help you flip the situation in your head. Now, I think this is particularly helpful for something like a breakup, or when somebody hasn't met your expectations and you're either sad, you feel heartbroken, you're angry, you're whatever, fill in the blank. It's a really great way to work through and go inward. But ask yourself questions that will help you uncover why you feel a particular way, and then that will help you feel better straight away, but it will also help you kind of bring awareness so that it doesn't necessarily happen again. Another thing to think about here is to consider what being in love is. What does being in love actually mean? What does the love between partners mean? I think I just covered it slightly, in that it can be an expectation of this person. It is my expectation that me and this person are going to get married and we're going to live happily ever after, because that is what I'm sold in fairy tales and in Disney movies and that's what society has told me. I am going to meet the love of my life, I'm going to marry them, and then I'm going to live happily ever after. So being in love at the end of the day is a fantasy. It is it is thoughts of the future that we place expectations on, that then set us up for heartbreak. We could live happily ever after, but I am actually a firm believer that we have different people or different partners at different chapters in our lives. This can be friendships, relationships, family, and throughout our lives we go through many, many different chapters, and it's okay to let those chapters end and let those chapters go. Don't be so attached to them. It's the same as not having expectations. Let go of attachment and understand that life has flow and that it has alternating circumstances. And the biggest thing here is to be compassionate and kind to yourself if you're feeling this pain, and realize that it obviously wasn't meant to be, and something better is coming for you. Heartbreak is probably just expectations not being met, is what you're telling yourself about the situation ultimately true? And just think about what being in love actually is, because we are very much sold that we, having a partner is a form of success, and it's kind of climbing up the societal ladder that, oh, we have a partner, we get married, and then da 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 da. So take the pressure off it. This leads me into the next question. They kind of answer each other. How to find such and such a man. Now, there are a few ways of looking at this. Because again, my question to you would be, well, why do you need that type of person? When we're in a relationship and when we're looking for a relationship, we have to ask ourselves why we want it in the first place. Because if we're not aware enough to ask these questions, then we could end up with somebody who's completely wrong for us, and then we could end up heartbroken. Heartbroken, or just miserable, or just, I don't know, unfulfilled, leading a mediocre life. The white picket fence thing isn't really for me. We're sold the white picket fence lifestyle. I don't think that's necessarily everybody's highest calling. So ask yourself why you want that in a person, why you want that certain type of person. What emotional feeling is it that you're looking for? What do you want to feel? Can you give that to yourself first? Because I think only when you can give this love that you're looking for to yourself first, only then can you be truly happy in a relationship. If you do not love yourself, you will not have the capacity to love anybody else. But the feelings and emotions that we're looking for in a relationship, say you are looking for safety or security or fun and adventure, can you give those to yourself first before seeking them in somebody else? Because if you're seeking them in somebody else and you find that somebody else, what you're doing is, it's a projection of what is already inside of you, because everything you need, everything you think you're looking for outside of yourself is actually already within you. And it won't work. So you need to be able to give yourself what you're looking for in a relationship first. And can you find it in other areas of your life? Are there people in your life who already fulfill what you're looking for in this relationship? If you're looking for adventure, do you have a friend who you can go on a spontaneous camping trip with, or similar, and appreciate that. You don't necessarily need somebody to do, like a partner to do that with. Just because you don't have a partner, it doesn't mean you're not good enough. I think this is ultimately what most people's fear of being single is that we feel like we're not good enough. We're not good enough because nobody wants to be with us, when that's just not the case at all. Absolutely not. And I am an advocate for having a vision in life, and because I believe it keeps us from drifting off and kind of becoming a bit complacent. To have a vision, I think, is a good way to go, which is why a lot of my work is around designing your legacy. Because I think if we know where we want to be and who we want to become, then we can kind of start on that path towards that, yes, the path may change, it may veer off, there might be alterations we make on the way, but ultimately we kind of have an idea of where we're going. And in that vein, I do think it's good to know what you want in a relationship. And I do think it's good to have a bit of a list of what you want and what you don't want. If we're kind of going down the more manifesty type route, law of attraction type thing, but have a list. Okay, so if we are going down the law of attraction route with this, you need to have a list of the type of person that you want, but again, you need to give that to yourself. You need to be that person yourself first before that person will come into your life, because that's how the law of attraction works. But I think it's good to have a list of what you know, so you know what you want and you know what you don't want. You'll just be more aware when you're going through the dating thing, but don't be attached to it. We don't need to be attached to needing a relationship. The second you let go of needing to be in a relationship, somebody amazing will come along and find you. This is why, so dating apps I think are quite dangerous because they are really addictive. My friend was showing me some stats yesterday that these dating apps, they don't pose much hope for people to actually find somebody. A lot of people are getting this dating fatigue. It's not the apps are an addiction. They're probably more addictive than Instagram or whatever, because ultimately it's about us, and it's about, oh, does somebody find me attractive enough to swipe right or whatever. Just ask yourself if that's a healthy way for you to find a relationship. For some people, don't get me wrong, for some people this really works, and Cupid strikes his little bow, and you know, there is love there. I don't want this to be pessimistic against relationships or dating apps. You know, sometimes there is absolutely magic happens, but when we're placing a lot of pressure on ourselves that we need to find such and such a relationship, such and such a boyfriend, such and such a girlfriend, then we put so much pressure on ourselves that it's not enjoyable anymore, and we just use it as another tool to beat ourselves up and make ourselves not feel good enough. So my advice here would be, have a list of the type of person that you want and that you don't want. Think of the qualities that you like and that you think would be complementary to your life, and write those down. And then realize that you actually already are those things, and start living those things. Once you start living those things, you then don't necessarily need somebody else to fulfill that for you, because you're already doing it for yourself. And then you won't be attached to being in a relationship, because all of a sudden you actually love yourself, you love being on your own. And then you might find, and somebody will then come along and it will be right, and it will be the right person, and it will not be you'll not be falling into the same pattern that you have done before, because you're coming at it from awareness. You don't have the stress of, I need to be in a relationship. Starting a relationship from that mentality is not healthy. It will not help. It will not help. That is not the foundation for a strong and successful relationship. It's got disaster written all over it. That would be my advice. And think about that we are actually conditioned that we need to be in a relationship as a form of success. Ask yourself if this is true. Is it true for you? Do you need to be in a relationship, or do you just need to give yourself more love? If it is true, why? If it's not true, why? Always be asking why. Always be asking, why is this true? And you'll intuitively come up with your own answers. So then we have our final question, which is how to cope with the monthly disappointment of not conceiving. Now, again, there is a lot of, I can feel the pressure in this question, and I can feel the pain. So I have nothing but compassion for you. I don't know what that feels like, and from my own life and my own experience, last year I had my eggs frozen. I don't know if I will be able to conceive, so I guess, or naturally anyway, I don't really know. For me in this particular area of life, I've had plenty of heartbreak. I've questioned many a time as to whether I will find the right man or not, and from a place of me feeling not good enough for myself. So everything that I've kind of just mentioned I've been through now, I have not had the monthly disappointment of not being able to conceive, but I have my own stuff, and so I'm coming at this from my compassion, from my intuition, from my own experience. The biggest thing that comes up for me is have compassion for yourself. Have kindness towards yourself, because if you're beating yourself up every month that, oh my God, I've got my period again, you're just gonna put so much pressure and stress on yourself that your body is not physically going to work. It is not going to, your reproductive system will not work. If you're stressed about this, that's not an environment for a baby to grow in. So there could be a reason around that you're not conceiving. Again, also not a doctor, so don't know. I can't help medically, which that's not how the question's phrased anyway, so I know you're not expecting that. But compassion and kindness towards yourself and each other, obviously assuming you're in a relationship. So have so much compassion, kindness towards yourselves. Go inward and spend time alone, asking similar questions to what I've been through, on your own, both of you, and with each other. And maybe it might be a nice idea to bring them together and share kind of your own experiences of being alone and reflecting on this. A big question I would ask is why you're trying to conceive, why you want to conceive. Is it coming from a place of this is our natural next step, or is it coming from a place of, but it's the obvious next thing to do in our lives, it's the obvious next thing to do in our relationship? So always ask yourself why. Is there a feeling within yourself that doesn't feel whole? I don't believe you can make yourself feel whole by having a child. I believe you have to feel whole first. Have a look if there's any reason in your life why you might not be conceiving. Is there any unaddressed trauma from your past, from your any unaddressed trauma from your past for either of you? Are either of you going through any particular stress? It could be work stress, it could be, I imagine this is causing you a lot of stress, so this stress alone, the pressure around needing to conceive, wanting to bring a child into the world, all of those things are going to have an effect. I also obviously don't know if you're doing this naturally or IVF, but I guess it's all the same. Go inward, reflect, have compassion. This one is probably going to be the most difficult. Surrender and ask for guidance from the universe. Surrender, let go of the attachment of needing to conceive. The second you surrender, it will probably happen. But don't surrender from a place of I'm surrendering so this happens. Surrender, you have to surrender it. Get to a place where you are so okay in your relationship that it doesn't matter if you have children or not. Because the second it doesn't matter, you will probably be blessed with some good news, and that it could be a baby, it could be something completely unrelated, but either way, you both need to feel whole together and on your own, and I believe that is a really solid foundation and a solid start to bring a child into the world. The second you start to surrender and let go, you will see like miracles happen. You will feel happier. The stress will start to disappear. It will, and take the pressure off. I would recommend the two of you going away and trying to forget about it if you want it, and go, and maybe a relaxing holiday isn't what you need. Maybe you need to go and have some fun and have some adventure. Maybe think about, this just came to my mind, like go ape. I've never been there in my life, but go and just have some fun, the two of you, and you can that's the type of fun that you might have with a child if you want to go. I imagine you want to build a family together. You want and in order to, and that's the type of things families do, is, go and do nice activities. And maybe the two of you should go ape for a little adventure weekend and not think about trying to conceive. Take all the pressure off. Just have fun. Life is about fun. Life doesn't have to be hard. Life does not have to be stressful. It's what we're told life has to be. Life can be enjoyable. Life can be fun. Life is whatever you make it. And it is really hard to let go of the conditioning and to let go of the programs that tell us that we have to find a perfect boyfriend. My grandma once told me that I'm going to have to stop being so picky and just choose one a few years ago. But we do not have to have a boyfriend or a partner, or we do not have to get married. We do not have to do all of these things. And before we do any of them, I believe that we're coming into an age now where we are a lot more conscious of everything. We have the gift of information. We have information. We have our own intuition. We are so much more conscious and aware now than we were 50 years ago. So we also have a lot more freedom. We have the freedom to make decisions and choices that are best for us, not for how society perceives us. So just ask yourself why, what is it you're looking for, and be compassionate, and don't feel the pressure. If it's pressure you're feeling, take pressure off. That's what my intuition's told me. That's where my wisdom has taken me. There are some sciencey things that you can do, some meditations. I would suggest meditation for mindfulness and for sitting with yourself and for reflecting. before you look into anything else. But there are meditations that you can do, and again, this actually goes for every person who's asked a question this week. There are meditations that you can do to help yourself generate more love in your body for yourself, make you feel more whole as a person. And then when you feel more whole as a person and you love yourself, things will start to slot into place in your life like you wouldn't believe. And yeah, if anybody, just reach out to me if you would like some guidance on those meditations, and I can point you in the right direction. Now, another book, just on this last question, a book and an author I would like to bring to your attention is Gabby Bernstein. If you haven't heard of her, she is a spiritual author, and she teaches kind of manifesting and law of attraction and miracles and stuff. But what the biggest thing she's taught me is letting go and surrendering. And she's got a book called Super Attractor, which is one of her more recent ones. And in it, she speaks about her own struggle with conceiving. And I know that it took her 3 years to conceive. And she speaks about it in this book. So maybe this book would be helpful for you to read, because it kind of also goes through everything I've spoken about with regards to being compassionate and asking yourself why, and going inwards and sitting with it, asking for guidance from the universe, trusting that you are guided. This might not be the right time for you to have a child. There might be something just around the corner for you that you had, like, that wouldn't make it possible for you to bring a child into the world yet. You just don't know what the world has in store for you. And when you can let go to that and surrender to the path that we're on, you will feel much more secure. My experience, knowing that I am guided, gives me so much comfort and takes away so much stress and pressure in every area of my life, from my health, from healing cancer to leading my business, and knowing which next steps to take. I trust that I am guided, and I do watch magic happen. So and that is becoming more and more clear to me in my life. So I really, really hope that something that I have said has resonated with you. If anybody who has asked a question this week, I would like to thank you so much for reaching out and for bringing these questions to me. I am really grateful for you. I really hope that they have helped you. If you would like any more guidance, please do contact me. And I'm going to leave the episode there. If anybody has a question for next month, which will be July, the beginning of July, if anybody has a question for next month, please do let me know. You can email me, hello@rosannacroft.com, or contact me on Instagram. Sending you so much love, so much compassion. Have compassion for yourself. If you're going through heartbreak, or you don't feel good enough, or you're feeling a lack of love, or you're having the struggle of life, life does bring its challenges, but know that it can be easy. Know that it can be filled with love if you so wish it to be. And I think that's the poignant thing, is you have the freedom to choose what you want your life to look like. You can come at it from a place of love, or you can come at it from a place of fear and stress. I know where I would rather approach life from. Sending you so much love. Thank you so much for everybody who helped contribute to this episode with your questions. I really hope I've helped you in some way, and helped all the listeners in some way, shape or form. Loads of love. Bye.